Hi, my lovelies. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Annie Ami. All right, so today we're going to be making this a cowl neck blouse and a drawstring skirt. The drawstring is actually by the two sides. If you'd like to see how I was able to achieve this look, please come to me to the cutting table. All right, guys, I want to use this medium to thank you all for your love and your support. I really appreciate. Without waste of time, let's go into the cutting. So what I'm doing here is to basically cut um the skirt out. So there are things to note. Please take notes. This skirt does not have a zip. Secondly, it is not a fitted skirt. It doesn't have a dart because it's a free skirt, and it's not a pencil skirt. So what I did was to um cut this skirt using the biggest measurement, which happens to be the hip measurement. And so what I did was to divide the hips by 4, then added 2 inches, 1 inch for sewing allowance and 1 inch for ease. All right, so I placed the hip measurement on the waist and on the length of the skirt, because it is not a fitted skirt, is not a pencil skirt, so it was just a straight cut, no curves. Yeah, so after doing this, I used it to cut out the front. Sorry, I used it to cut out the back. Please note that the front and the back is actually same. So I'll go ahead and cut this out, then use it to cut the back. Right, so here I'm drafting out the top part. So what I did first was to cut the back, then use the back to cut the front. So this is the normal bodies drafting. So I believe we all know how to do that. So I used the highest circumference, which is the bust, sorry, which happens to be the hips, because the length of the top is actually very long, so it got her hip part, so I had to use the hip circumference to cut it all through. And I also went ahead to add 2 inches allowance, 1 inch for seam and 1 inch for ease. So I'm not going to be explaining this part because I believe we all know how to draft our bodies. Alright, so I've gone ahead to take note of my bust point, waist point, and hip point, which also happens to be the length of the top. So I came down uh, by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and I went in with 3 inches for neck width, then 1 inch for neck depth. So I'll go ahead and connect it. So I'll go ahead and take 8 inches for the armhole. Now connect it. So here, 'I'm checking to confirm that, 'I'm checking to confirm that. 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 'I'm checking to confirm The shoulder measurement is the same thing on the chest line. So after this, I'll connect it. I'll go ahead and get the midpoint of the armhole. So because this is the back, I'm not going to be coming in by half inch. So I'll go ahead and insert the measurements, then cut it out. So the back part is very simple. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is to make sure I have up to 10 inches. Starting from the top part, I measure at 10 inches. Then I mark it out before I go ahead and place the back on the front. So why we're doing this is for us not to cut out a facing. So that 10 inches is going to serve as a facing. So instead of cutting out a facing for the front, it is going to be the facing. Please watch carefully what I'm doing. So I'm still going to bring in my camera for you to see what I just did. So from that part, I'll make sure I have up to 7 inches. So this will make the cow neck effect be visible enough, like make it come out well. So it depends on you. You can do 6, you can do 5, but I think 5 is the least you can do. So if you decide to go deeper, like 9, 10 inches, you might end up revealing your cleavage. So I'm going to do 7. So what I did is to connect from the neck part, that's the neck part that connects to the shoulder. So I'm going to connect it to my 10 inches. So it's going to be like a triangular. Please take note of what I'm doing. I don't know how to explain this. I hope you understand this. So first I'm going to use my pen to mark it out. So from the neck part down to where I have the 10 inches, so I'll go ahead and connect it. So automatically I have a triangular shape there. So after making the top, is going to fall in as the facing instead of cutting out a facing. So here is what I was trying to explain. From the neck parts to where I have that 10 inches. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. Please, while cutting, just take note of your shoulder. Just notch it so that when joining to the front there won't be any mistake. Okay, here I'm cutting the sleeve. I'm not going to show um the full video, but the sleeve is going to have gathers at the sleeve. I'm going to use elastic to form the gathers, the half-inch elastic. So if you notice the wrist part is bigger, I'll go ahead and notch the middle. So here I'm cutting out the straps I'm going to use for the drawstring. I hope I'm correct. All right, so I cut out about four, yeah, two on this side, two on the other side. All right, so what I did first to go ahead and join the front and the back using 1 inch. So I'm going to tell you the reason why I use 1 inch. I'm going to be explaining. So after joining the front and the back together, I went ahead to hem the lower part. So I went ahead to turn the straps. So I brought back my skirts and press it open. That is, I had to turn the back. So what I'm going to do is to run a stitch on it. But before I do that, I'm going to fold half an inch in so that at the end I won't have to weave it. So what I did basically was to you know sew the rough part in using half an inch, because this is where I'm going to be passing my, like making a casing for the straps. So all right, so I'm going to be doing this on the both sides. So here what I'm doing is to fold in half inch, then run a stitch on it. So what I'm doing basically is to hide the rough edges inside, so that at the end I won't have to weave. So after doing that, I went ahead to measure the waist and then stitch the elastic on it, but not all the parts. So I'm doing this so that it won't disturb it won't disturb me if I'm ready to attach the straps, because it's going to get to the waist of the skirt. I don't know how to explain this, but I pray you understand what I'm trying to do. All right, so make sure you You pass the straps before attaching the elastic to the waist, because if you attach the elastic to the waist first, when you pass the straps you have to, go back and loosen it again, and it's going to be a double work for you. So on the lower part, make sure you leave about half inch so that you can see a space to pass the straps. All right, so I'll go ahead and attach the elastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it on the right side, which is the outer part of the skirt, so that when I'm done I'm going to turn it in and stitch on it. So here is the result. Right, so I'll go ahead and pass the strap through the casing I just made. And voila, our skirt is ready. So go ahead and knot it. I'll knot it twice, so I'll do this on the both sides. All right, so here is the top part. All right, so if you remember the part that has the triangle effects, so I've gone ahead to hem it following the triangle shape, and I also took note of my shoulder, so this will help me when I'm attaching the front to the back. I'll know where the shoulder stops or where it starts from. So I've gone ahead to attach the front and the back together using half an inch on the shoulder. All right, so if you remember the part I mentioned about the cowl neck facing, so instead of cutting a facing separately, this is what I do usually. So you can give it a try if it works for you, but this is what I do usually and it works perfectly for me. So the triangular parts, I beg your pardon, goes in and then forms the the facing. If you understand what I'm trying to say, here it is. And here our skirt is ready, our top is ready. All right, guys, if you've watched this video to this part, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. Thank you so much for your love and your support. Thank you. Bye. See you in my next video.